come on, man. Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday! A little difficult when you have a computer keyboard and you're trying to like balance 98 different things. So it is Friday, and John, hear you there. Every single time I have to close the computer and open it back up, that's why I have to adjust everything. So once again, welcome one final day to a hotel room in Macon, Georgia. And so as we go here, we're going to get you ready for the weekend. We'll lay out everything for you. And it is previews and previews and previews of all the things. And I mean that seriously because it's all the previews. So coming up in just a little bit, Morning D Graham. And here's the rundown of the day. So rundown of the day is obviously opening kickoff coming up in just a little bit. And then from there, we'll see if our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring can join us at 9:30, and we will catch up with them and find out what's going on in their world right now. We're in the heart of the we're in the heart of the high school season, so I imagine that there's a lot of mentoring on a bunch of different levels going on right now. And we'll see if our friends from Beyond Goals can join us for the Friday free kick coming up at the bottom of the hour. Then after that, once again, as always, hour number 2 is a weekend whip around, patent pending, trademark coming sooner, hopefully rather than later. And then we'll get you through everything in Major League Soccer. We'll get you through all the news of the morning. We'll get you through everything on the preview side in England and believe it or not, and if you remember earlier this week, USL Championship, USL League One getting started. There's some storylines there. If you missed Kaylor Hodges and our buddies at the USL show, their Wednesday night program dealt with the season premiere of that league. We'll go through some of the juice boxes and some of the matchups specifically in League One involving teams in our footprint and the new teams that are coming forward in USL League One. But if you're a hardcore and you're a diehard in those two leagues, go back and listen to our friends with the USL show and with Kaylor's segment that he did back on Tuesday in the 10:30 segment where we kind of broke everything down to get you ready for 2025 in USL Championship, USL League One. NWSL has their Challenge Cup going on, and that is this weekend as well. And also, MLS Next Pro. It is another go-round of MLS Next Pro with Atlanta United 2. You will get your action at the Fraction tonight involving Red Bulls 2 and Atlanta United 2. And I like the idea, at least from a travel standpoint, where you have either before or after, and obviously since the season hasn't started yet. So it's before in this particular instance with Atlanta United 2 and Red Bulls 2, where you have the lead in and you have the second team come in and it's ahead of time. And so if the first team needs any reinforcements, if it's a road match, then you have that particular opportunity for a Red Bull. So coming into town early, Red Bulls 2 taking on Atlanta United 2 up at the Fraction tonight. Pregame show at 7 o'clock on the SDH network over on our Mixler site, soccerdownhere.mixler.com, or you can go to soccerdownhere.net, go to the Listen tab, click that, and you get the Atlanta United 2. We're the proud home of the Twos, and we'll continue to be that for the 2025 season. So all of your matchups with Atlanta United 2 that we can cover with manpower, we will have. Otherwise, we'll have post-game reports and things like that. But once again, Atlanta United 2 kicking off tonight. Action at the Fraction at Fifth Third Bank Stadium in Kennesaw. 7 o'clock pregame with Madison Cruz. Jason will have the call for you at 7:30. If you missed it yesterday, Jason was up in Ellijay. Big shout out to our friends up at Gilmer. And the Bobcats were hosting Heritage Catoosa last night. And it was, I think it was, once again, it was a great environment. We can get Jason to come on and maybe talk about the tacos that we have up there. But no, it was great to see our friends up in Ellijay last night. Morning, David. And so it was that continues with the high school side of things presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. So this weekend, once again, it's the Twos tonight on the SDH network on our Mixler site. And you catch all the recaps and everything after the fact. And also, once again, Atlanta United hosting Red Bulls tomorrow night. That's at Mercedes-Benz. and that is on Star 94, I believe. We'll get Jason to cut the promo for me in a second. Morning, Abby. And then when Jason comes on, slated for 10:30, we'll have him go over everything that's on his mind when it comes to both the twos and with Atlanta United. So it'll be these kinds of previews coming up when Jason drops in on Fridays. So we'll go over the twos and we'll discuss what's going on with Atlanta United. So Atlanta United, Saturday night. The twos tonight, once again, either in Kennesaw or on our Mixler site at soccerdownhere.mixler.com. And then we're going to kick back things on Monday. We'll be back to normal. I'll be back in the studio, and we will get you rolling there with the high school schedule. And so literally, here's how it's going to go. I'm down here in Macon and I guess this is technically opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. QR code to be found someplace else. Just go to the website and you can buy out the store. We'll get to that in a second. So I'm down here in Macon for the basketball championships for high school. And so I will be coming home Sunday afternoon. 2 more days. We have today and we have Saturday. Saturday is our earliest start, 11 o'clock in the morning, and we go until maybe 9:30 or so. And today it's the same thing. Kickoff, tip-off, kickoff. Yes, we start 1 o'clock on GPB and all the GPB sports elements and all the social medias, as the kids say, and sports app, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, GPB Sports, you name it, we're there on the app. So today, lower divisions, actually Division 1 is going to be held today and tomorrow. We have D2 today with Washington, Wilkes, and Wilcox County. And we have the boys side, Savannah and MCA. That's today. And I think Division 1 is tomorrow as a part of the discussion. So that's your lower division. I can go over them at the end of the show, and we'll let you find out what's going on. So it is today and tomorrow. And then once tomorrow is over, drive home. But I have been told I'm supposed to stop at the Fresh Air Barbecue location here in Macon. Traditionally, what I do is I will go to Old Clinton Barbecue on the Gray Highway, which is about a 20-minute detour. So 20 minutes northeast, and then you get back on the road, and then you head north, and then you head home. I have been told that Fresh Air Barbecue, who is like the number 2 barbecue in the state of Georgia, top 20 in the country, they now have a Macon location. So what I may do is stop there on the way home on Sunday. So get home Sunday with all the barbecue, the Brunswick stew, the banana pudding, all that stuff. Usually it's pulled pork. It's a boatload of pulled pork with sauce and Brunswick stew and banana pudding. So that's traditionally how this journey ends. Then Monday, we are in studio and we get you ready for the new week. We'll let you go with Reaction Monday and find out what happened with everything there and Atlanta United Red Bulls and the twos and Red Bulls 2 and so on. Tuesday, it is a show from the studio. Then I drive to the Pinelands, which is Middle Georgia. It's about 3 hours away from the studio. Tuesday night for our high school coverage, it is Appling County and Jeff Davis. Really looking forward to that one. A great rivalry in Friday night football, and now it's carrying over now into Tuesday night football. And so the Tuesday night throwdown is going to be in Hazelhurst, and there's some backstory to that as well because of what they've been able to do to build the program and so on, and how the community is trying to rebuild after Hurricane Helene came through. And so there's a couple different reasons that we're going down there, and it's a great region rivalry. Appling County, Jeff Davis. That's Tuesday night in the Pinelands. Wednesday, I'll be in a hotel room in Dublin, and we are going to be doing both the morning show and finding a way to do in session on the road. So we'll have that on Wednesday. And then we have Thursday and Friday activity with Hampton Eagles Landing. So it's a bit of a homecoming for somebody. Morning, Alex. And then Friday, it is a home game with Johnson, Gainesville, and GAC. So that's next week. And then, everything gets back to hitting and running as we go there. So that is next week. But once again, so it's like literally I get home on Sunday, do the show on Monday, Tuesday do the show, drive to Middle Georgia, then do the Wednesday show and in session from a hotel room in Dublin, turn around and come back to Atlanta. So there you go. That's the early part of next week. But my opening kickoff this morning, and this is once again going around in circles to try to get to a morning question. And I don't know if this happens to you as well, but I still to this day have issues in trying to figure out what is too hot for a beverage. And I will explain. So, trying to keep something of a voice for 4 days and do the morning show. What I do is, I don't know how many of you do this when you start to have throat issues or whatever, but Traditional Medicinals has throat coat tea, and we are best friends. Trust me. We this time of year, we're best friends. And so here in the hotel, you have, you got microwaves and fridges and everything. And so I'll put hot water in the microwave and it will go for, 2 minutes or so. And then I'll get the tea and I'll steep it. And, we'll have, we'll have our tea to try to make sure that the pipes at least stay functional through this 4-day marathon. To this day, I have still yet to figure out when to take the first sip of hot water when I'm making tea out of the microwave. Day one here in Macon, I burned the ever-loving daylights out of my tongue, and I have yet to recover from it. So this is my major problem when I'm trying to save my voice, is that you sit there and you'll hold the cup or the mug or whatever, and it feels okay to the hand, but then the second that you try to take a sip of the tea that you have out of the microwave, you burn the crap out of your tongue. And that's what I end up doing. I swear to God, every single time that I have a situation like this where I'm dealing with a foreign microwave, it's like back at Office HD, I'm fine because I know that 2 to 2.5 minutes, depending on which mug and which cup and everything, and I'm fine. And I let it steep for a while and then I can hold it and I'm good. When I'm in a hotel room and it is water into a microwave and things like that, I don't my gauge for figuring out what is good and what is not and what will work and what won't, it kind of gets thrown, into the blender because I'm in a foreign place. It's water that I don't use. It's a microwave I don't use, that kind of a thing. So literally day one when I got down here, I burned the crap out of my tongue from using the microwave. And I still have yet to recover from it. So I'm still, every single time that I, will have hot tea, then I always end up screwing it up. And so that's where, okay, so David might have a solution here. So here's David's solution and thought. Different microwaves equal different wattages. Hotel microwaves, I would think, are less watts, but also mugs could be different. Well, what I'm using, sadly, is this. I'm using the, and since they're not sponsoring, I'm just going to go ahead and hold it in the light. It is the hotel that I'm staying in, and they are named after a very rich individual whose last name is tied to the hotels. And so I'm using paper cups and going into the microwave with the water. So that's my problem. I think that's one of my first issues because once again, everything's kind of thrown because I traditionally use mugs when I'm at home. And I left my mug at home for this particular run. And so D Grams always heats the water for a minute, then steep it and reheat it. So, okay. So no, Bart, it's not a career-ending injury. It's just me being stupid. I know that that's a shock, but now, well, see what D Graham does. D Graham builds apparently when he has his tea. D Graham builds to his level of heat tolerance. I just go with the information that I've used in the past and go with traditional times and traditional timings. But if David says that different microwaves have different wattages, I think I truly am screwed. So D Graham builds to his proper temperature to where he doesn't burn his tongue. I just go into the microwave, throw it in there, and then work my way down. I let it, Abby says it needs to steep for a minute and a half because what I've traditionally stick my pinky in it to test the temperature. I've never thought of that. I literally have never thought of that. To stick my pinky in it to test the temperature. Never thought of that legitimately. So I may do that from now on, especially when I'm on the road. I mean, when I'm at home, I'm fine. But when I'm on the road, I think I may have to do this from Abby, where I stick my pinky in it to test the temperature. I like that idea. Okay, so I've come up with something of an on the road solution, and then this is why I do these kinds of things on opening kickoff, so we can kind of workshop something. It's like, okay, I have an issue, we workshop it. You guys are smarter than I am, and so now I have this information going forward. So that's good. That's good stuff. Okay, so Abby's idea of sticking my pinky in it to test the temperature, combined with D Graham on the slow build, with starting with a mark time and then going forward. I think these are the two solutions here. So Bart, D Graham, heat, steep, and reheat. Don't microwave the tea bag. No, I don't do that. I just do the water. That's the one part that I don't do. Is I'll do the water, then put the tea bag in for the hot tea. I don't do like the tea and the hot water all at the same time. So that's the one thing I don't do. So at least I'm on the same page with all of you when it comes to heating the water without the tea bag. Tea bag doesn't go in until it's done and it steeps and all that kind of stuff. Yes, and so yeah, at home that is true. Abby's absolutely correct. At home, you know your microwave, you know your mug, you know your situation. But Alex, I think, has the true point into this, that Alex also uses Abby's pinky to test the temperature of his beverage. Okay, that's good to know. I mean, is she on call? Does she figure it's like, okay, hey Abby, I need you to come here, or I'll meet you at a midpoint? Is that how that works? Is Abby on call for you, Alex, when it comes to hot temperatures and testing them for beverages? I need to know. This is the kind of stuff we always tackle here on opening kickoff. So, Bart with a thing. Okay. Refereeing down here, a soccer match was called off after a young child of a player bites her. Whoa! Just reading the link. Hang on, totalprosports.com. I mean, if I could type it. I mean, come on, man. That's just No, 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 no. 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 That is just Mm-mm. Uh, wow. I mean, that is that's rash. That is rash. I mean, and it's a 4-day-old story over at Total Pro Sports, and I'm gonna kind of thumb through it and see if I can read some of it, if not most of it. Bizarre incident leads to an abrupt cancellation. Pre-game routine check. Stephen Collar had a small child bite him in a place that didn't bite. The unusual injury forced officials to call off the 8th division clash between FC Taxi Duisburg 2 and SV Rot-Weiss Mülheim. Conducting the standard pre-match ID verification, the child, reportedly an offspring of an FC Taxi player warming up alongside the team, moved closer to the ref. And in the official match report, he says, while I was checking the FC Taxi player's ID, a small child was doing warm-up exercises along the players, came closer and closer, so then suddenly gave me a sharp bite in a body part. Obviously, it left the gentleman in severe pain, making it impossible for him to officiate the match. He had no choice to abandon the fixture, now rescheduled for a later date. No word on whether Collar will be willing to oversee the rematch or if he'll consider total. Yeah, thank you. It's protective gear. Yeah, Taxi Duisburg 2 currently third, and Rot-Weiss Mülheim yet to comment on the incident or explain the child's unusual behavior. Yeah, I would say that that's unusual behavior. All right. Wow. So wait. So people have been going up to Barton asking him how he would handle this. Fourth person to ask him about it this week. Red cards for both parents, all 4 grandparents and the child. Calling off the match is the only option. And I think Derek has this. Derek has this locked down. Football's a wild place. Yeah. Football is a wild place. Morning, Harry. Um, I mean, Abby's like, what type of fine happens with this one? I would hope that it's a suspension first and foremost. That there's a suspension. That there is a banning of the youngin from that field and every other field in the eighth tier ever again. Frankly, if it was me, the youngin would be getting a suspension from every possible venue in the country. It's like, no, you're not allowed here anymore. And then he sits there and he goes to his parents and he goes, why? Well, it's like, well, you bit somebody. You bit somebody on the field when you weren't supposed to. You bit somebody, period. David, no, David, it's a Friday. No, it absolutely. There's nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong with this. And so sharing chaos is never a bad thing. We share chaos here a lot. But Friday being Friday and getting you ready for the weekend, this seems like one of the more interesting opening kickoffs that we've had in quite some time. And so, yeah, the biggest thing for me is A, what was the kid doing on the field in the first place? He's warming up. I'm guessing he has ties to one of the players. So if he has ties to one of the players, cool. When it's time to go, it's time to go. I don't know why he was out there right up to the point of player introductions, unless he was going to be like warm up kid turned mascot for the day. Don't know yet, Abby. We have put out the siren song for our friends at Beyond Goals, and so we will see if either Cap or if Greg will be joining us in just a little bit. Traditionally, what we do, if they're traveling the planet, we always send out this note. Hey, 9:30 is theirs. 9:30 is the time slot for our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring. We can talk about a bunch of different things. But if they're globetrotting, then they let us know if they're globetrotting or not, and then we navigate from there. But I think that if this youngin was warming up and he has parental ties or familial ties to one of the players, I get it. When it's time to go, it's time to go. Unless he turned into be a part of the walkout and everything. What compelled that particular youngin to exercise that behavior, I don't know. What compelled the youngin to that particular action? That to me is the larger point. That to me is the larger point. And once again, all of you breaking news and things like that. Once again, Ricky, good morning. And by the way, Ricky reminds us that a place that we have frequented a great deal. So yeah, the kid doesn't need to be anywhere near a soccer pitch ever again in the country of Germany. And there also needs to be pictures. It's like, okay, if this particular club goes anywhere, beware of this youngin. So he doesn't need to be anywhere near a pitch anymore. And his parents are probably going to be responsible for something akin to an assault charge. But Brewhouse Cafe, best soccer bar in the U.S. How's that for blanking awesome? Now, at Brewhouse in Little Five, we've had events there in the past, but it's going to be interesting heading back. So, Brewhouse Cafe Little Five voted best soccer bar in the U.S. according to the results of a contest conducted by Men in Blazers. Results released this morning. And so now Roger Bennett's going to come back March 25th to watch matches with soccer fans. Live show with Rory Smith, slated to start at 7 o'clock. I guess you better get there early. So contest started in September, 23,000 votes, 1,600 bars, and a lot of the emails. And 10 finalists came in December. And the number one, Brewhouse, opened in 97. It's been great when we've been able to do things there at Brewhouse. So Mazel Tov, congratulations, and Wahoo and Yahoo for the Brewhouse Cafe. Little Five voted best soccer bar in the U.S. Very, very cool. And apparently the International Broadcast Center for 26 goes to Dallas. Okay, that's disappointing. Okay, so going to that particular story. So our friends at FIFA Media are now saying that it's going to be in Dallas. And I guess that means I should follow them now as well. Dallas hosting the IBC for the 26th World Cup. The K. Bailey Hutchison Convention Center becomes the global media hub for TV, radio, and digital coverage, welcoming thousands of journalists. And so that was announced at 9:08 Eastern time this morning. So I guess that means that we're going to be spending time with our friends in Dallas come 26 when we're not going to be here. Okay, so I see the travel plans now. We at SDH already have. We are blessed to have connections in Dallas. We have one of our we have one of our friends on the other side of the aisle when it comes to college football, based in Dallas. So we're cool. So we actually, believe it or not, if we can figure out a way to get out to Dallas, we have studio space. So we'll be studio spacing it if we make it out to Dallas in 26. I heard the magic noise, and so as we're going through everything opening kickoff, we can continue opening kickoff by talking to our resident mogul in training, because it is year 2, not year 1, but year 2 of the expedition known as Rhode Island FC. And so this is where we bring in Michael Parkhurst and our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring. Sup, dude?
Good morning, John.
I am in a hotel room in Macon, Georgia, sir. I am doing the high school basketball championships, and so what I do is I start my day doing SDH, and then at like 11:05, slam the computer shut, throw on the dress clothes, and drive to the arena, and I'm there for like the next 10 or 11 hours. So, yeah, so it's running around, babe. I'm not as busy as you by any stretch of the imagination, but nevertheless running around. So as you can see, the imitation palatial upbringing and background that we have here in the hotel here in Macon, Georgia. Yes, absolutely true. You're sporting your Demon Deacons gear, as I see this morning. And you're getting ready for the weekend, but this is also a very, very busy / important, oh my God, important weekend for you as a resident mogul in training. It is season 2 of Rhode Island FC.
Yes, well, it's season 2 of our USL go round, but we've got a week 1 bye, so our season doesn't get kicked off till next week.
Rat farts. I was gonna. Well, then fine. We'll discuss it a week early, since the next time I see you, the season will have already begun. So actually, there is kismet and karma here with this discussion. So as things have gone on, how many folks have wandered up to you who are RIFC faithful and have grabbed you by those Demon Deacons lapels there on that warm-up jacket and said, "Hey, what are you going to do for an encore, man?" And that reminds me, I need to get my Eastern Conference Championship gear. That reminds me. So what are you going to do for an encore, man?
Good question. TBD. We'll see. Hopefully we can have a better start to the season. We'll start there. Because everybody remembers the run that we made. But, the first half of the season, we had about 35 ties in our first 10 games.
Correct.
So set that record in USL. We're going to try not to repeat that. But we do start off with the first 8 weeks of the season. We've got 2 byes and 6 away games as we wait for our stadium to be complete. So it's not going to be the easiest of starts, that's for sure. But we proved last year we can win on the road. So, we'll see. There's some teams in the East that got better. Every team tries to get better, right? But like Birmingham for sure down there got a lot better. They signed 2 top players for the USL Championship anyway. So, it's we'll have our work cut out for us for sure.
Well, and at the same time, you guys didn't sit on your laurels. It was funny the way that it kind of worked its way out in the media, where it had been long discussed that Maxi Rodriguez was heading your way, and you're in the collective Rhode Island FC, and it's like, yeah, he's heading over there, but it's like he's still on the roster for Detroit City, and it's like, well, wait a minute, how is this possible? He's still on the roster for Detroit City, and then literally the simultaneous news releases come out. Maxi Rodriguez and Detroit City part ways. Maxi Rodriguez signs with Rhode Island FC. How does this happen? How is this simultaneous news releasing happening?
Yeah, we had signed him before the season was over, right? Because, free agents can sign, 6 months prior, as most of us know. And so we had signed him. And so, yeah, it just becomes like the league optics. So the league kind of controls, hey, your signing day, and obviously you usually try and let the other team say goodbye first before you announce. Just try and be nice about things. So
there it is.
oh yeah, there's the
There
butte.
it is. There it is. What's it been
Yeah.
like? What's it been like to see all of this come together there at Tidewater Landing?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Pretty crazy just to see from when did I start with this project? 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, 4 years ago. There's just been endless speed bumps and headaches and naysayers and just doubts and things. And there was a million reasons why this couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't happen. And yet the stadium is up. The guys are training in it. It's not fully open yet. But yeah, we are on target here for our opener. And it's going to be pretty crazy. We expect obviously a full house on May 3rd. And it'll be a pretty sweet day. That's for sure. Because I know how much work a lot of people have put into making this day come about. And I think that we've got still a lot of people to convince up in Rhode Island that this is going to be the place to be. And, it's going to be a really welcoming place and a place that a lot of kids growing up in Rhode Island are going to make a lot of good memories over their childhood. And so we're excited for that.
Does it seem like it's been 4 years ago when you started with all this stuff to today? Does it seem like it's been that long, or does it seem like it's been a snap of the fingers?
In general, time is flying by. It's crazy, but when I think about this project in particular, it's felt like 4 years just because of so many hoops, so much drama, so much political red tape and headaches, and I think a lot of people on this project have aged more than 4 years in these 4 years. So, in life in general has flown by. I can't believe it's been 5 seasons since I've retired, but yes, 4 years on this project seems about right.
I'm going to reserve the question about it being 5 years since you've retired and whether or not you feel like you still have some minutes in you if somebody ever gave you a call. And you sit there, your head's back, you're cackling. You're like, no way, bro. That is not happening.
No way. No way.
You mentioned, and so this is where I want to get into start discussing things about mentoring with you this morning. You mentioned that it's been 4 years that you've been engaged in the process there at Rhode Island. So how much growth do you get to experience on a yearly basis with your mentees? I mean, do you have mentees that have been with you and Greg since day one that you've been able to mentor all the way through a process and have been with them for 6 months, a year, longer? Or is it more just kind of like one season for a mentee and then they kind of go their own way? Do you get the chance to mentor someone continually through their process?
Some of them, yeah. I just had one not too long ago where it was the first time I had connected with them in probably like 6 to 8 months or so. But I've worked with him a lot in the past, and probably since he was about 12, and now he's about to start his freshman season. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're in high school. This is crazy. Yes. And to Abby's question, yes, my oldest is in high school as well. And she's a freshman. So yeah, it's unbelievable. But it is really cool sometimes to see the growth of players over a longer period of time and see where their journey has led them. So there is definitely a bunch that we've mentored from over the course of like 3 years or so. And obviously a bunch of new ones.
When you mentor over time, is it, okay, well, we have our baseline of stuff that we need to discuss, whether it's on the field, off, or both. And then as it goes, is it fine tuning? Is it finding other things to mentor them over? Is it you go down a road and then over time, are there more, are there stop signs and off roads and things like that? Or is it just kind of tweaking and fine tuning that individual on the field and off?
Yeah, I think the fine tuning, and I think that reminders, right? And no matter what level we get to, right, some of the things are still the same. They're just reminders of like what we can control and what we can't, and what's important and what's not, and how do we come over and how do we view things that are coming up, right? Like a freshman going into high school, right? Now all of a sudden you might not be a starter. You're playing against kids that are 4 years older than you, right? How do you approach these types of things? How do you have conversations with seniors on your team? How do you act in a locker room? Like all these little things that's new. So I think there's always new obstacles and new things that'll be occurring, and it's just kind of reminders of how to get through those, how to deal with those things, and how to put your best foot forward.
How much of a reminder is it for you and Greg about how to handle the growth processes for young athletes? Because it seems like it's at one point, it seems like it could be a refresher course for you about how to reset with these individuals. But at the same time, it opens those other windows about, okay, they're giving me this issue that I get to tackle for the first time, or this issue. So how much of it is a learning experience for you and for Greg about handling other mentees that may not necessarily be the one you're talking to?
Yeah, it's always growth. I mean, I spoke to a family yesterday whose daughter is involved with youth national team stuff, and not quite getting the level of training she needs at her club team, because she's in a small town, and just that dynamic, right? What do you do when, you've got an elite athlete, yet they're not on an elite team? And you want them to continue, right? So it's just, there's so many different journeys, there's so many different aspects to it. And yeah, it's cool for me to hear about everybody's journey, because it's one of the things we talk about, how everyone's journey is different. But when I get to like hear how these journeys start, right? Because we just hear usually at the end, like, oh, what was your journey to become a professional? Right. But I'm hearing all these journeys as they're going through it here at a young age. And of course, you don't know who's going to go on to play even in college, but you never know. So yeah, it's super interesting, and it allows me to grow too, and open my knowledge as well of like, we all know youth soccer is just ever changing in the landscape and what's going on, but it's good for me to stay up to date as well. Like some of these times, these parents are teaching me about what they're going through in these leagues and who's who, and what goes on. And, so it's ever learning for sure.
And I want to, at a future time, I want to bookmark the whole thing about parents teaching you about these things. But you mentioned something that I thought was really interesting, where you have mentees in smaller towns that aren't near, the big metropolitan areas, I guess, by comparison. And the troubles, I would imagine, for them are geographical, in addition to all of the other issues that they're facing. Because if they are a fantastic student athlete in a town that is detached away from larger operational bases, like you can't just turn a corner and go to you can't go to like Top Hat, you can't go to ECNL, you can't go to someplace right around the corner for those in big cities. I would imagine that the issues and the conversations might be a little different, because someone's in a smaller town that's detached from all of that, where they have to travel 90 minutes to do something one way. I mean, that seems like it's a different conversation entirely at times.
Oh, totally. And this family travels 3 hours one way for training, and they only go once a week because of the distance. But yeah, that's crazy. As a parent of youth athletes, that's insane, right? I'm like, oh God, this game's an hour away, or this game's 40 minutes away on a weekday, and yeah, some families are making that type of dedication. And so, yeah, how do you continue to grow? Because what they realized was, when they went to this national team camp, was, the level at the camp obviously was high, and the coaching was really good. And then it makes you like look at what your own situation is, and like, shoot, I'm not getting anywhere near that here. And I always say, like, well, the bright side is you're at that level without the coaching right now, without the environment. So that's amazing, right? So we just we just discuss different options, right? Can you train up with other female teams? Can you train with boys and go through that dynamic of playing with players that are typically faster and stronger than you? So different options, and then one of the things I learned was about guest playing in tournaments, and I need to find out more about that. But that is allowed in ECNL as far as guest playing with a team in showcases and things. So there's different options.
Well, and that was since you mentioned these different options, I was going to ask how you close the distance of that 3 hours, and I didn't know that the idea of playing up makes sense and something like that, but also crossing over. And if you're a female playing with if you're a female, you can play with males, you play with the boy athletes that are out there if you're on the girls side of things. So I guess part of the mentoring in that aspect is you're troubleshooting in a way, but it's a different kind of troubleshooting where it's an off the field troubleshooting trying to help so the on the field troubleshooting can get advanced. So you're having to do things a little differently, and you're having to go on the field and off when it comes to these things.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's what mentorship's about, right? It's holistically. And so many of these things off the field affect on the field performance. So yeah, for sure. And and that's why we enjoy it. And that's what keeps it always fresh. And of course, on the field stuff is more straightforward for us. It's easier because game is game, basically. It's just different levels to it. But off the field, everything's so different, and to each person and to each family. So it's interesting.
Friday Free Kick with our buddy Michael Parkhurst here at Beyond Goals Mentoring, at MF Parkhurst on the 280 character app, at BG Mentoring on the 280 character app, at beyondgoalsmentoring.com. How are you getting adjusted to doing the video analysis and just talking into a camera and doing the self-reporting and the self-discussion? How are you at talking as the only person in the room? How is that evolving for you?
Pretty good. It does happen frequently that I will go to record things, and my dog will think that, oh, now is a great time to get up from her bed where she usually is, right here next to me.
Oh, see.
And get up and plop down onto the hardwood right next to me. So there's just a massive thud right in the middle of my. But I continue on for now. I think people just need to know.
I see no issue with a thud. And okay, so please, if you would, sir, please return the camera to your co-pilot's position and explain who your co-pilot is.
This is Deacon, obviously.
Okay. No.
Yes, and she's our almost 5-year-old COVID pup. We still call her a puppy, even though she's almost 5. Golden retriever, sweetest little girl. Passed out.
Yes. See, I imagine. So let me see. Let me see if I can gauge the morning for Deacon. So one or both of you, as the leaders in the Parkhurst household, you get up earlier than the other. One gets up earlier than the other. Deacon sees that as a sign to, hey, it's time to go outside. Depending on the temperature, Deacon will do either one of two things. Deacon will want to go out on the long walk of the morning, or sit there and go, door gets open, front door, back door, whatever. Deacon goes, it's too blank and cold out here. I'm going to do my thing, and I'm hopping back inside, and I'm going back to bed. Now that I've awakened to the rest of you, I'm going back to bed. Am I close?
You're not too far off. She always starts in bed with my son, and always in the middle of the night will come wake me up, and I put her in the crate. This is a routine. She finds comfort in her crate. She won't put herself in the crate, but she will wake me up, and she will go over to the crate, and I have to lock the crate. So I have now started waking up in the morning, John. I used to sleep in a little bit, but now I wake up at 6 with my wife and my daughter, and I go work out, and then I get her out of the crate at like 6:30, 6:40. And she always wants to go outside. It doesn't matter the temperature. The colder, the better, unfortunately for me.
Yes.
But yeah, and then of course, and then she'll sleep for the next 3 hours.
The rest of the day, it's like, oh, it's lunchtime. It's time for me to get up and get lunch.
She lives a very, very nice life. We
Oh,
tell her all the time she's very lucky.
oh, absolutely. The same way it is with, well, hey, the same way it is with the rowdy man in our place. I know I'm third in that house. It is the boss. It is the rowdy man. It is me. I know I'm third. I knew that going into the equation. So that's an easy one for me. Yeah, so you mentioned changing routines with you getting up in the morning with Deacon sitting there, and it's like, bruh, time to go out.
Yeah.
When it comes to talking to your mentees about, okay, what is your standard day like? And then they may walk you through their day, and you may sit there and say, okay, stop. You need to change this behavior. You may be successful. Your game may be great. You might be improving. You might be on a path. But when they walk you through their day, how much adjusting to maximize their potential do you go through in these kinds of situations where it's like, okay, I see something that can be fixed here that can make you even better? How much day adjustment and lifestyle adjustments do you guys do off the field when you're talking with mentees?
Yeah, not a whole lot, because we want them to want to make the adjustment, right? We don't want to say, hey, you do this, right? But we more talk about, okay, what routines and habits can you create, right? If you are struggling to sleep, or you're struggling to wake up in the morning, or your eating habits aren't good, right? Okay, what could be some possibilities? And we try and say, hey, everyone's different. There's no set routine that's going to fit everyone the same, right? But okay, can you do XYZ, after dinner, before bedtime? Can you do this in the morning? Can you, get in a routine of this or that? And we just try and give them options and ideas of like, hey, find a routine. Like, these things help. Like, doing these things over and over again, your body just gets used to it, and it can be so helpful. So we really try not to say, hey, you need to be doing this, versus, hey, think about these different options and what they could do for you.
How well does today's mentee take care of themselves? Because I know that when in the days of black and white television back in the late 1600s, when I was young, you literally could eat anything, it would burn off. You could have chili dogs, you could go out and you could play for your team, everything's fine, it burns off, and then you're okay. How much lifestyle adjustments and consultation do you guys have? Because we've all lived through it. It's like, okay, metabolism changes when you're 30, then you have to start paying attention to things. How much lifestyle adjustments do you sit there and encourage? It's like, okay, well, you might need to work on this a little bit. Not sitting there and saying, cut the chili dogs out, basically.
Yeah.
But how much adjustment do you sit there? Do you notice it's like, okay, you could be better if you did this? What about lifestyle adjustments and things like that?
Yeah, it's definitely something we talk about. I think that in general, athletes are way more knowledgeable and in tune to nutrition than we were when we were young. And I think that some of it is because parents these days are way more in tune to the nutritional side of things than our parents were. So I think that in general, they're in a better starting place, and so we always try and say, start with 60-40, 70-30, right? Where you're at least focusing on what you're putting in your body. And so it's something we definitely speak about, but in general, I think that they're doing a pretty good job at a younger age of being cognizant. And we never like, hey, yeah, is Chick-fil-A good for you? No. Is it amazing taste? Yes. So if you want to eat Chick-fil-A, go ahead and eat Chick-fil-A, right? But okay, maybe eat something healthier the next meal. So it's like such a balance, like with everything.
What is this balance that you talk about? Come on now. I mean, no, we're all supposed to be like John Belushi in the Olympics, eating the chocolate donuts. That's how we're supposed to win everything, is making sure that we are ready for the decathlon, eating chocolate donuts. That's how this works, man.
Gosh.
I know. You'd still be playing if that was the case, if it was like chocolate donuts and everything.
Oh man! Just to answer a couple questions here in the chat.
Go for it.
Harry, yes, our Tidewater Stadium is 10,000 seats right now, but we did build it with the knowledge that we might go D1 in the future, so it can be increased to extra 5,000 pretty easily, if that needs to be the case down the line. Blue Sky, I think I have an account to Blue Sky. I haven't made the switch yet, even though I need to at some point.
I'm on both, yeah.
Yeah, I need to at some point. The other one just keeps sucking me back in somehow. I think that was it.
Okay. So Atlanta United, obviously I have to, we discuss Atlanta United before you get out of here. Atlanta United is hosting Red Bulls this weekend. And we know what Red Bulls brings to the table. They're going to try to press you out of the building, create short fields. They don't care about possession. The ball has cooties. It's like, we don't want it. We just want it only a short period of time. We're going to be clinical. We're going to try and finish. It's going to be pressure from as many as 5 coming at the back line of Atlanta United. How different of an animal is facing Red Bulls versus everybody else?
Different. So much so that, you need to adjust. You do. When a team is that good at pressing, and honestly, I don't know the Red Bulls this year, how good they are at pressing.
Yeah.
If it's changed, but in years past, the risk rarely outweighed the reward. In that you could break the press 3 out of 10 times, 5 out of 10 times, even 7 out of 10 times, but that it might only create 1 or 2 chances. If they win the ball 3 times out of those 10, they are getting 3 chances.
Yep.
So it's very different against the Red Bulls. And, they, to your point, don't really want the ball, which I always found like, okay, let them have the ball.
Yeah.
To turn things around, let them have the ball, don't press them, and then counterattack. So yeah, it is different. It's challenging, but yeah, it'll be exciting, hopefully. Crazy, John. When I was watching the game last week,
yeah,
I thought Zaha was terrible.
Yeah.
He was
Matt Edwards had Zaha in his hip pocket for the first.
Yeah, and even the second half, like people were like, "Oh, the assist wasn't an assist. It was a blocked shot or a bad shot.
Yeah,
that doesn't count in my book." And the goal, it was a very good. He had one good touch all game, and it was the goal. Yeah. Right, he took it very well, but he did not create anything. Honestly, if I'm a Charlotte fan, I was thinking about tweeting this. But I was like, he was so bad that I'd be nervous, because I didn't think he moved well. And I like Zaha. I thought that was a great signing. I was like, man, this guy's going to crush it. I don't know if it was jet lag. I don't know if it was the turf or what, but I thought he looked terrible. And that was kudos to Edwards as well. But man, we'll see. I mean, I know he plays in Miami this weekend on grass. So if he doesn't look much better, and it's crazy because everyone says, oh, a goal and assist, he's all over MLSsoccer.com. And I'm like, dude was brutal.
Yeah.
But that's soccer, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the other way to look at it is, oh, he was brutal, yet he had a goal and an assist. So wait till he's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if he's brutal and had a G and an A, then, hey, wait until he figures everything out at the bouncy house in Charlotte with that trampoline turf that they have there.
Yeah.
So what are your, so May the 6th is the opening at Tidewater Landing?
May 3rd.
May 3rd. Thank you. All right. Because I'm writing this down and I'm trying to see if what our schedules may be. So yes, I'm already planning it. So yeah. So yeah. Look, when somebody floats me a picture of what Tidewater Landing looks like, and it's this gorgeous looking thing, and we got to figure out what's going on with United and the twos on May 3rd. But yes, okay, it is in pencil or it's in green Sharpie pen. But I've written the date down. As always, my friend, it's great to see you. It's great to find out what's going on, especially with what's going on with Beyond Goals and you being a mogul in training and Rhode Island FC and all the topics, all the things. I think, is Deacon still sleeping?
Hasn't moved.
That's what we figured. All right. So maybe you can sneak out of the room. And then the second you sneak out of the room, Deacon's going to sit there and go, bruh, where'd you go? Get back here. So please have a safe weekend with Deacon and everybody. Enjoy your watching and your viewing habits. And, we'll catch up with you soon. It's great to see you. Great to get all the updates and find out what's going on with you on the Friday Free Kick with mentoring and with you at Rhode Island FC. Be safe, my friend. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, John. Good to talk to you. Enjoy the basketball today. See you
Yeah,
later.
yeah, you got it, brother. And me and basketball, we're like this. We are all over the place. So that's Michael Parkhurst with a couple of different things that we got to discuss this morning. Differences in being detached from everyone else while you're trying to learn. The lessons of geography, routines and habits, those kinds of things, and what Michael and Greg continue to learn at Beyond Goals Mentoring, and the fact that Deacon likes to wander into the shot and just sit there and go, the red light's on, it's time for my close-up. 5-year-old golden retriever, Deacon, very, very cool. And yeah, Deacon and the Rowdy Man probably have a lot more in common than they realize with Kappa in Columbus and us here. All right. Once again, that's hour number 1. So let's see who else is here this morning and say hi, and we'll get rolling into hour number 2. We'll get you into the weekend whip around with all of the games and all the things and everything going on in Major League Soccer. Run through the juice boxes in Championship in League One, and we got the Challenge Cup once again in NWSL, and what's going on in the Prem, as Nick says. So we got some juice boxes to get into, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all that kind of stuff. We may do that early so we can focus on weekend whip around late for the rest of hour number 2. So let's see. So Bart's booing Dallas. Hypnotic donuts, according to D. Graham. See, this is all of the other stuff important. When we go to these markets, we've got to find it. Like when we go to Providence, it's about finding the Italian food. No lie. You go to Providence, it's Italian food. On the hill in Providence, massive, just great restaurants with Italian there in Providence. So that's another thing. So May the 3rd, I've circled the date. We got to cross grid everything. Okay. So morning kung fu, and let's see. So yes. So as Abby says, as you know from the first season with United, you know how waiting to play in your new stadium is build up. And D. Graham, thanks for your question involving the possibility of moving up into D1 in the stadium. Harry says he wishes the budget would be allowed to travel him to go see San Antonio at Tidewater against Rhode Island. Great day for U.S. soccer. Absolutely true. So Wiley is in this morning, and Wiley is petitioning. Does anybody need 2 tickets in section 126 face value? Because he's got a jet out of town. So keep an eye out and reach out to Wiley in the Discord or wherever you reach out to Wiley. So Wiley's got 2 in 126 for tomorrow if anybody wants them. Also, spring break 2 college kids both agreed to the same thing. And so Abby's talking about Blue Sky, Morning Alex, and so let's see, Abel. Abel's there. Morning, Abel. Captain lost the not Charlotte winning. Atlanta United home game, Nashville. Oh, Bart, you had to say that. Rats. Okay, so it's a home game against Nashville. So we will be otherwise occupied. So we're going to have to find a time that agrees with everything where we field trip up to Tidewater Landing for a home match. Okay, so that's already settled. May the 3rd. Thank you, Bart. Bart's already cross-referencing schedules because I know that Bart wants to go. So May the 3rd, home game, Atlanta United in Nashville. And so there you go. All right, so what we'll do is this. We'll kind of slide weekend whip around a little bit. We'll go through all of the gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and the juice boxes for the weekend. We'll get that in the other divisions and then spend the rest of the time talking about Atlanta United and Red Bulls coming to town on Saturday night. All right, so juice boxes and matchups and getting ready for weekend number 1. Once again, remember, if you haven't had the chance and you want to pursue what's going on in USL Championship, League One, and Next Pro, we'll save the Next Pro discussion as well to the segment when we talk about Atlanta United. But you can go to the USL show. Kayla Hodges and our friends there, they go into the big old deep dive about everything and what's going on. So we've got juices for Major League Soccer, and that's not the one that I want to click onto. So USL League One. Remember, in the discussion with USL League One, they've got a bunch of new franchises too. AV Alta, FC Naples, Portland Hearts of Pine, and Westchester. So keep an eye on all of those. We actually do have juice boxes in USA, a juice box in USL League One. Tormenta and the Richmond Kickers tonight in Statesboro, and it's a 7:00 kick. Richmond Kickers, Tormenta. Tormenta is a home favorite at a +112, And Richmond on the road is a plus 199. By the way, Richmond has retooled, I think in celebration of their 25th anniversary, they have redesigned their kits. So huzzahs and hoorays. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool design that Richmond has. Sebastian Guenzati was mentioned that by Kaler about Detroit City signing Guenzati. Guenzati goes from Tampa Bay to Detroit City, but once again, it's a 33-year-old Sebastian Guenzati. Sergio Rivas signs with New Mexico United. El Tri Youth International Vigo Ortiz gets his first-year deal, first pro deal at the age of 16. And it is Ben Martino signing, the 22-year-old keeper with the Riverhounds after spending 2 years in Hunt City. And Birmingham Legion acquired Roman Torres on loan from Minnesota United. So looking at the schedule as things are all laid out. So Saturday it is Lexington and Hartford, the Miami FC and Detroit City, North Carolina FC and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Charleston and Lou City out of the blocks. 7:30 Saturday night. That's a big matchup in USL Championship at Patriots Point. Birmingham and Loudoun, San Antonio, Monterey Bay, El Paso and Colorado Springs, Phoenix and Tulsa, Orange County SC and Oakland Roots. That's going to be an interesting one. Keep an eye on those two in the Western Conference. Sacramento and New Mexico United, and Las Vegas and the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So Vegas spending money and investing, playing Tampa Bay. How does Tampa Bay look after losing some of their firepower? But honestly, right now, you look at these matchups in week one, 7:30 Saturday night. I know you'll be busy, but you can go back and watch it in other ways. So right now, your marquee matchup in championship, Charleston, Lou City out of the blocks. That one's going to be big. So looking at the schedule in League One, once again, we mentioned that tonight it is Tormenta and the Richmond Kickers at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock, it is Greenville and Westchester, FC Naples and Charlotte Independence. That's your opening weekend, and then things kick back in on Wednesday, and it starts to get to further and further full song. Greenville and Omaha are playing. So Greenville's got 2 out of the blocks. So they play Westchester on Saturday, come back and play Union Omaha on Wednesday. So that is USL League One. But they get off and running. Tormenta tonight in Statesboro. If you're close, go watch them. Greenville Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock against Westchester. And that one is at Paladin Stadium on the campus of Furman University. So USL Championship, USL League One, and the NWSL Challenge Cup. So that's what you have going on this weekend with all of that. Now, gossip, rumor, and innuendo. What to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. So we'll get the gossip, rumor, and innuendo out of the way, get you into your juice boxes in the Prem, and get you into everything sliding overseas before we dial it back here and discuss everything going on. I still have to promote all the things. I haven't had the chance to promote. That's how busy we are on these Fridays. By the way, Messi and friends beat Cavalier 2-0 last night, and a lot of folks were saying that Cavalier should have had a goal on the board, and it was reviewed and pulled off the board. So that turned out not to be the case. So it ended up being a 2-0 win for Messi and friends. And Javier Mascherano is paying attention to the local physios with Messi and friends as to whether or not Messi will participate in the return fixture at Cavalier at the National Stadium in front of 35,000. So he says that, I'm paraphrasing, he says listening to the doctors, there's a lot of wear and tear. And at the same time, looking down the road, and this is stuff that we knew in navigating the schedule, because you have multiple competitions, you have international play, and all of this stuff compressing in on itself, and you're looking out for Messi as well as the other and friends and what you're trying to do with your lineups. So keep an eye. Not really sure that Messi is going to play in the reverse fixture at Cavalier, but we will certainly keep an eye on that. Okay. Manchester United considering a move for Jean-Philippe Mateta in the summer. 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Real Madrid, and Bayern, Chelsea, and Spurs all interested in Bournemouth's U21 defender Dean Hewson, who would cost £50 million. Once again, the 4-letter paper. West Ham, Crystal Palace among the clubs looking to sign Southampton defender Taylor Harwood-Bellis this summer. Harwood-Bellis is not looking forward to staying at Southampton if they get relegated. He wants out. And so it's going to be a matter of time. Southampton gets relegated. So Taylor Harwood-Bellis is looking to leave Southampton in the offseason. Atletico Madrid expected to bid about €60 million to sign Mason Greenwood at the end of the season. Mason Greenwood also declared for Jamaica to be a Jamaican international and not be with the Three Lions. That also came out. Joshua Kimmich looks set to stay at Bayern this summer despite interest from Arsenal and PSG. Chelsea interested in Real Betis U19 winger Jesus Rodriguez, who has a £42 million release clause. Liverpool also monitoring, four-letter paper. Manchester United and Liverpool have asked about the availability of Atalanta midfielder Ederson, although Manchester City also have a strong interest in the £50 million rated 25-year-old. Manchester United hope to make summer sales before activating the €80 million release clause in the contract of RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Šeško. Liverpool also is chasing after Šeško as well. Liverpool could send Harvey Elliott out on loan next season so he plays more first-team minutes. Barcelona are prioritizing a new contract with Frenkie de Jong after interest from Arsenal. So that is gossip, rumor, and innuendo on the day. So juice boxes in the Premier League before we get into what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it to start off your weekend. And remember, you have only a handful. You've got everybody's back up and running this weekend in the Premier League. You have 6 matches on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and Monday Night Football's West Ham and Newcastle. Forest hosting Manchester City, the early game tomorrow morning. Manchester City's a -110. Forest is a +280, so is the draw. Brighton, part of the 10 o'clockers. Brighton a -103 hosting Fulham at a +277. Crystal Palace a -213 hosting Ipswich. They need to win bad. Ipswich is a +558. 10 o'clock Liverpool -769 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal, going up against Southampton. 12:30 Brentford is a +123 at the G-Tech hosting Aston Villa. 3 o'clock late night for overseas. 8 o'clock kick. Wolves and Everton. Wolves a +163. Everton a +181. Draws a +213. Apparently, Everton and the Friedkin Group can save $50 million in the restructuring of a loan for the Bramley Moore dock facility. So that also came out as well. Sunday, it is Chelsea and Leicester. Chelsea's a -500. Leicester is a +1068. Spurs hosting Bournemouth. Spurs is a +170. And Bournemouth is a +137 on the road at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's a bit of a surprise. Also, it is a Manchester United Arsenal. Arsenal on the road a -141. Manchester United at Old Trafford a +434. Your draws a +252. West Ham is an underdog at home to Newcastle. Monday Night Football. Newcastle right now a +118. And West Ham at home is a +219. Your draw is a +252. What to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and we're just going to cover today because everybody knows what's going on Saturday. I know all of you are going to be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So what do you do in your daytime? What do you bring with your monitor, with you, your favorite streaming device? What do you do on Saturday? You be wall to wall. I know a lot of you'll be watching the Premier League from Lot 17. Please celebrate responsibly and do so on my behalf as well, since I will be in Macon for the matchup. And leaving Mercedes-Benz in good hands with the Hoff. Today, Bien en Español, Liga 245, Toulouse and Montpellier. If you don't have the BNs, you can get all the BNs. Nuestro Telesitio, Teise, For the Fans, Liga 1 Max Pro, and our buddy Nino Torres at Gold TV at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Helps us out, helps them out, helps you out to turn you into a true degenerate. Jason got me hooked. I blame him. Now, the league that we neither condone nor endorse nor promote has a game at 2 o'clock on Fox Deportes. They also have Liga MX at 8, Tigres and Querétaro. Gold TV, Torque and Plaza Colonia. Defensor Sporting Liverpool at 5:30. Doubleheader on Gold TV from Uruguay. 2 to N8 late tonight. Puebla and Pumas, 10 o'clock. Now, beginning of MLS Next Pro season happens tonight. Los Verdos, Austin FC 2, and Colorado Rapids 2 at 6:30. Messi and Friends 2, Chattanooga FC at 7 o'clock. Ventura County and Tacoma Defiance is at 10 o'clock on Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. ESPN Plus has your Tormenta match at 7. They also have the Bundesliga at 2:30, Mönchengladbach and Mainz. Fox Soccer Plus also has the matchup in the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote at 2 o'clock. Golasso Network Championship, Norwich City and Oxford United. That's at 3. MLSNextPro.com has the video side of Atlanta United 2 and Red Bulls 2. We have the matchup on Soccer Down here on the SDH Network starting at 7 o'clock pregame, 7:30 kick. Maddie has your pregame. Jason has your call. Crown Legacy and NYCFC 2. That's at 7 o'clock. Those are on MLSNextPro.com. Paramount Plus has Serie A Cagliari and Genoa at 2:45, as well as the English Championship match at 3 o'clock. Universo, Liga MX Femeniles at 8:05, Guadalajara and America. Amazon Prime has the Challenge Cup tonight in the NWSL, Orlando and Washington. DAZN USA has a couple of different matchups for you. If you have DAZN, 2 from the Saudi Women's Premier League, doubleheader there, and 1 in the German Frauen Bundesliga, Eintracht Frankfurt against Essen at 12:30. That's just today. Whew. It's a lot to talk about, as we always have on to talk about in these kinds of things. So, okay, so Bart is targeting June 7 for Tidewater Landing, and June 14 is a Rhode Island home match. 2 days after Atlanta plays Red Bulls. Oh, at Red Bulls. Ooh, okay. That might be worthy, because that's going to lead right into Club World Cup, by the way. So Abby has switched over to Blue Sky. I have both because I need both for promotional purposes. So, all right. So that gets you through your juice boxes and everything in the Premier League and all that kind of stuff. All right. Let's get the promos out before we start talking about the rest of Major League Soccer and the weekend whip around. All right. You can get your jersey at Olive & York, our first ever, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente, Beyond Goals, Soccer for Good, Olive & York, Navy jersey. You can get it personalized, and you can either have it in the Carolina blue letters and numbers or in the white letters and numbers, and you can help out our Soccer for Good causes by going to Olive & York and getting the jersey. You can go to the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation, help them out, continue to build their soccer federation from scratch. You can get all the other gear, the bucket hats, the jerseys, everything. You can get that from them. That comes from England. You want the scarf that Maddie is modeling on the website, you get that from me. I've got about a dozen left in the storage closet for mailing purposes. So if you want a Marshall Islands scarf, you order it and send the money to England. I send you the scarf from Office HD. Also, you can go to Grady Baby Co., and you can get the Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta gear in the red or the black with the gold lettering. Sweatshirts are both in my house. T-shirts don't have them yet because the weather wasn't cool enough for that to happen. So you help out middle school soccer programs attached to Atlanta Public Schools when you invest in the collaboration that we have with Grady Baby Co. You can go to soccerdownhere.net, get all the SDH network gear. You can also get retro gear involving the Ruckus and the Attack, just as an homage to stuff in the past. So, Fanaticos. Yeah, you got to becoming a Fanatico is also part of it. $10 a year. And I always ask, what can you do for $10 a year? Well, what you can do is become a Fanatico. And how do you do that? Once again, when you become a Fanatico on the SDH network, and once again, you can do that through Chant. And as I sit here and dial up my phone and try and find the Chant app, then what you do is you can go to a website, and I'll give you the website here in a second. But here is Chant, and here is where we are, where SDH is on the Chant app. I'm just trying to do it so there's no shine. So you can start your day having conversations with everybody here on the Chant app, on the SDH section of it all. And you can chat with everybody else who's a Fanatico and go through the schedules and find out all the partners and what you can do and be a part of the interactive experience that we have on our Chant app. How do you do it, you may ask? Well, for $10 a year, you can be a part of our Fanaticos membership program, get access to exclusive discounts all over Atlanta, breweries, pubs, soccer retail stores like Lloyd's has a 20% off discount for select Atlanta United gear. Hotels, Moxie Midtown is one where you can get discounts on your drink tab and your food tab, I believe. Comedy theaters, much more. If you want to go to Costa Rica, and go on vacation, and what you can do with one of our partners is at the Chateau Arenal, if you want to go and see either the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza and stay at the Chateau Arenal, or if you just want to go see Herediano, Alajuelense, etc., or Saprissa, and just, it's like, yeah, I want to go to Costa Rica. I want to see the Costa Rican Primera. You can stay at the Chateau Arenal, but you can get a discount if you are a Fanatico. So that's all part of it too. That's one of the more highfalutin things. You get Tires Plus from Alpharetta, a bunch of breweries, Wild Leap, Battle and Brew, Dad's Garage, O'Sullivan's, and Fido Midtown, Keys to Flavor Catering. You get a discount from them. Social Fox, Round Trip, Hard Cider, Slow Pour, South Main, Schoolhouse, Brass Tap, and Marietta. They're all partners. And you can get special discounts by becoming a member of the Fanaticos program at SDH for $10 a year. You can get all these discounts from all these different places. Exclusive access to the group on the Chant app, staying connected to what we're doing at SDH. How do you do it? Group.chant.fan, group.chant.fan/soccer down here, as you hear me typing, and I'm trying to spell it correctly. Soccer down here /join. Let me see if I did it right. So let's see what happens. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. You can be a Fanatico $10 a year. Go here, group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join, and you get it all laid out right there. Being a part of our Fanaticos program, a lot of cool places, a lot of great discounts. Become a Fanatico here at SDH, and you'll love it, and we'll love you for it. Once again, continuing all of our soccer for good ideas for 2025 and beyond. All right. Weekend whip around time. Patent pending, trademark coming sooner, hopefully, rather than later. Going through all the juice boxes and all the matchups. And when Jason comes and joins us, as he traditionally does on Fridays, we'll go through Atlanta United. We'll go through the twos specifically because the twos are playing tonight, kicking off MLS Next Pro season. One of the 5 matchups, I want to say, in Next Pro for the 2025 season. And we'll break all of that down in just a little bit. But let's go through all the other matchups in Major League Soccer. Go ahead and throw your predictions into the Twitch pitch, and we will we'll rock and roll there as well. So it starts off at 2:30, and I got to figure out, do we have the announcer assignments? Like I said, I asked this out loud, wondering if anyone has seen them, and we can also do the referee assignments as well. So we can roll through all of that. So free newsletters and no assignments as of yet. Nothing there. So what about here? And do we have those notifications here? Boardroom talks, expected goals. And the answer is no. So we do not have the matchups and the announced teams for the matchups this weekend. But here we go. All right. Starting things off, it is the early matchup on Saturday. Crew in Houston. Crew's a -128. Houston on the road's a +318. Draws a +280. I want to see what the lineup is. I don't think it's going to deter Columbus all that much, but I think that Columbus at a -128 at home, traditionally very tough. I think Columbus gets a win here, and there's going to be more early season questions, however unwarranted, with what's going on in Houston. Seattle and LA at 4:45, which means 4:55. So 2:30 means 2:40. 4:45, I think, means 4:55. Seattle and LAFC. We had our buddy Nico Moreno on yesterday to discuss. He is somewhat concerned about the lack of firepower that he's seen so far from Seattle. So Seattle coming off CONCACAF Champions Cup, going up against LAFC at home. Midweek weekend. Seattle's a +104, so they're close to even money. LAFC, once again, they played in the midweek as well. They're a +256. Nico was leaning more toward the draw at +235. Once again, saving Atlanta United and Red Bulls. We're going to put that one off to the side. Start of your 7:30s. DC and Sporting Kansas City. DC is a -115 at home. I can't remember the last time DC was a minus at home. DC a minus at home, hosting Sporting Kansas City. Sporting's a +263, and your draw's a +292. I've still got early season questions about Sporting and surrounding the offense, obviously. DC might be a favorite by default in the juice boxes. I don't know. I'm thinking more draw here at a +292. I think both teams may equally frustrate their fan bases out of the blocks. And I think that's why you might end up with a draw once again at +292. Cincinnati hosting Toronto. Toronto is a +365, no surprise. Pushing +300 on the draw, depending on where you look. And Cincinnati's a -147. I don't think we need to discuss this a whole lot any further. Toronto's in trouble in a bunch of different ways. And I don't know. I mean, it's looking pretty bad. So Obviously, go with Cincinnati here, and I will say this using this match as the marker. Check your fantasy teams, check your fantasy teams, check your fantasy teams. But also with Cincinnati, check your lineups because of, once again, CONCACAF midweek. So we'll see what that looks like for Cincinnati. But Cincinnati favored at -147 at home. So we'll see what happens there. Did you see the story out of New England? Did you see the story out of New England? We'll get into that in a second as we're rolling through everything. Jarrett joins us here at 25 after the hour. Jarrett, we're rolling through Weekend Whip Around, and I had stopped at the matchup involving New England and Philadelphia. And it was a story that came out from Sam Minton. Sam Minton. Well, I was just rolling through the games in order. So I had stopped when you had come in at the New England-Philadelphia game. Headline, The Blazing Musket. Caleb Porter responds on 98.5 to a report of argument with Richie Williams. So our friends at the Blazing Musket, earlier this week, a report surfaced saying that New England Revolution head coach Caleb Porter had a disagreement with Revolution 2 head coach Richie Williams during a scrimmage. Porter addressed the report during his weekly interview with 98.5 The Sports Hub. According to WPRO's Tom Quinlan, Porter and Williams had an argument in front of players during a scrimmage. Quinlan later added Williams wanted to switch sides at halftime during the scrimmage, which later led to the argument. The report was noted on 98.5's Zolak and Bertrand show. So I imagine Scott Zolak, who sounds like he's gargled glass for the last 25 years, and Bertrand during the Porter's weekly interview asked about the reported argument. Worse. It's worse than Scott's. Yeah. So Scotty Z's is worse than Pharrell's. And the thing is that Pharrell just talks. Zolak yells and has that voice. So Zolak is color for the New England Patriots also. So he's instantly disgusted on air a lot of the time, and he lets you know that too.
That's right.
So Caleb Porter says, yeah, it's pro sports. So it turns out people disagree sometimes in pro sports. I don't really think it's a big deal at all. At the end of the day, it's pro sports, and I'll leave it at that, end quote. And there's a link to the interview at 98.5 The Sports Hub with the conversations with Caleb Porter and Zolak and Bertrand. So, I'll sit here and say, look, it's coaches. They're talking. They're doing their thing, and sometimes folks are wound up a little tighter than normal. Apparently, your volume is low. Can you adjust your volume, sir?
Yeah, I can actually. Give me a minute.
Okay. So that is is that better, Will? You're fine to me. So Will said your volume was low, but yeah. So New England is apparently having coaches that are squawking at each other. I mean, it's New England. So not really necessarily a surprise that coaches would squawk just in general in the Northeast at one another and be somewhat heated. But we have this happening at practice with Richie and with Caleb Porter here early in the season for the Revs.
I feel like that's just what they do.
Yeah. It's just kind of their thing. And the Revs are favored, by the way. How this might be what they refer to as a line mistake. The Revs are favored at a +142. Philadelphia is a +170 with current MVP candidate Ty Barbo, and your draw is a +257. I have the feeling that this is a line mistake right now with these two clubs.
I would agree. Strongly.
I don't know how you end up with the how do you I feel like Ross all of a sudden on Friends. How do you end up with the Revs as a favorite against Philadelphia in this matchup?
I don't know.
I know. I'm just saying it's a line mistake. That's what I'm staring at here. I know it's early. To me, it's a line mistake, and I think that if anyone has any juice boxes of a decent flavor that they don't mind parting with, you might want to look at Philly. NYC's hosting the Purple Team at 740. NYC is favored at home at a +116. Purple Team's a +231 and draws a +240. And Jared's just like, keep right on rolling.
Fix his headset. Well, Jared's trying to fix his headset.
Oh, okay. So I'll tell you what.
Apparently it's shot.
Oh, wow. Okay. Austin and
No,
go
like,
for
it's
it.
the Philadelphia game. I'm
No,
like,
like it's the Philadelphia game.
no,
I'm like,
I'm
no.
not betting against the team
Yes.
that scored
I'm
8
not
goals
betting
in
against
games.
the team that scored 8 goals.
And when Caleb
No.
Porter has been
And
like
when Caleb Porter has been like
my guy of
my guy,
the first
of
manager to be gone.
the first manager to be gone.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally that's kind of what I'm staring at. Purple team, big underdog, heading north to take on NYC at a plus 231. NYC is a plus 116. I'm like, okay. Orlando City's probably shown more offensively, but once again, you're on the road. Okay, so we got that one. And
well, part of y'all not being
so
able
we
to
got
hear
that
me
one.
is also me
Part
trying
of
to
y'all
fix
not
the
being able to
headset
hear
right
me
now.
is also me trying to fix the headset right now.
Ah, yes. Yeah, really. I mean, so that's that's where that one is. Austin and Colorado minus 132. Austin is favored at home, no surprise at Q2. Colorado 2. And your draws a plus 289. So there's that one with there. Dallas and Chicago. Dallas a minus 128, plus 296 on the draw. Chicago is a plus 300. Nashville and Portland. Nashville at home is a minus 123, and it is plus 282, and Portland is a plus 304. RSL hosting Salt Lake. RSL is a minus 106. San Diego FC is a plus 257, draws a plus 271, and Vancouver is a minus 213, plus 349, and Montreal is a plus 524. San Jose a plus 133, draws a plus 261. Minnesota a plus 179. And on the weekend, Messi and friends are hosting Charlotte a minus 204. Plus 366 is your draw. Charlotte is a plus 444. Galaxy are a minus 122. St. Louis City is a plus 293, and your draw is a plus 285. So that is the rundown for the week. In any of those matches, do any of those matches pique your interest in any manner, way, shape, or form?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, hit me.
The Galaxy lost to Herediano in the midweek in CONCACAF Champions League. Punt on this game and go beat Herediano. So this feels like a classic. We lost in the midweek. We're going to make it worse by losing on the weekend because we cannot afford to lose in the midweek next week against Herediano.
Mm-hmm.
So give me that one. That's fun. Also, Vancouver. The rise of Vancouver will continue to be fun for everyone involved. A one-one draw with Rayotos is not anything to sneeze at. The other ones for me, in the name of chaos, I'm a firm believer that my two favorite non-Atlanta trophies for 2025 will be Chicago winning a trophy, because I want to watch everyone have an aneurysm when Greg Berhalter wins a trophy. I want to watch you all suffer.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see like the blood shooting out of your eyes like a lizard. I also would be very tickled if Bruce Arena drags what has been a listless, lost in the desert for 40 years level Quakes and win a trophy with the Quakes. Because if two of the trophies for 2025 go to Chicago and San Jose, I can't think of a better excuse for you never to bet on this stupid-ass league.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm glad you agree.
Yes, no, but chaos is always chaos. I mean, that's the fun part. And apparently, you sound like you're at your best. That you've been the whole segment. You have finally increased.
Well, so the background here is I'm working on a new headset. I just haven't finalized everything on it yet, so I'm still tinkering with setup on it.
Okay.
So yeah, this is like the backup piece now that I'm using the one that is stable.
Yeah.
I just haven't configured the new one all the way and messing with some of the audio settings, and they're just not there yet, which is fine. It'll take time. Actually, I used it last night with Maddie when we did the 6-pack, and it worked fine. It's just going to be a matter of tinkering. So that's kind of the offstage information on it. So.
Okay. It is 10:35. We're in the last half hour of the show, and it is time to
What does
discuss.
that mean, John?
It means that we got a bunch of folks that are hopping in here on a Friday. Bart has decided to drop in from the Soccer for US POD, and apparently he's in some coastal deal with his what do you call that? His picture.
Avatar, John.
Thank you. Avatar. That's the word I'm looking for. And Jarrett is actually on camera because Bart is showing an avatar. Jarrett is on camera. And
I had to throw it off. We have to find some sort of balance in this world.
Mm-hmm. So,
Jarrett,
welcome,
bringing
Jason.
balance to the force.
What is happening?
well,
for one thing, you left us last night and allowed me to do the.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's how it goes, Jarrett. We allow you to do stuff and you disappear.
well, I think that the lords of soccer have hit a button, and so Jarrett, once again, he's going to try it. Did you hit a button, sir?
No, it kicked me. I'm assuming Jason remembered that like he allowed me to do the 6-pack last night without guardrails, and he was like, "Nope, not doing that again." Because he was
I
up
can't take
in.
credit for kicking you out this time. Give it time though. We've got about 10-15 minutes here.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway,
so how long do we have you, Jason?
15 minutes or so.
Okay. First and foremost, the twos kick off tonight, and that's on the network. 7 o'clock pregame with Maddie and you have the call starting at 7:30. From your time at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, what have you seen with the twos and Steve Cook getting ready for this one against Red Bulls too?
I mean, it's a little bit different kind of group for the twos this year. We'll have a preview coming up on the SDH network early this afternoon. You'll hear from Steve Cook. You'll hear from new attacker Ryan Carmichael. You'll hear from Ronan Wynn, who, fingers crossed, will get his visa in time to be able to participate tonight. You'll also hear from Cooper Sanchez, who somehow grew again in the offseason.
the hell?
This kid is going to be a giant by the time we're all said and done. But no, it's a little bit different kind of group. I think it's a little bit older group. Kind of an in-between. I think you see some teams in MLS Next Pro treat their second team truly like a reserve team to the first team. And you see some treat it as an extension of the academy. I think Atlanta had kind of trended towards the latter in the last couple of years. Very, very young group. And now I think it's a little bit in between. I like the mix of some guys like Carmichael, Moises Tablante, who have played at this level and are very good players at this level. Javier Armas is going to be the captain this season. You've got guys who know what it takes to win and succeed at this level. And then you have guys who are like Cooper and Dominic Chong-Kui and others who are on Atlanta United 2 deals or on academy deals playing at this level, who are figuring out what it takes to be at this level. But when you have some guys who have been there and done that, it helps ground the group a little bit more. And I think it helps the younger guys have a chance at success. And Steve Cook has said it. This is a group that he wants to see reach the postseason in 2025, something Atlanta United 2's never done. Doing that doesn't guarantee success at the first team level, but it can help some of those guys along the way. I think we've seen guys have success from the twos at the first team level. Caleb Wiley, George Bello, guys that you saw come through the twos, play, get a lot of time. Noah Cobb, plenty of others. There's different ways to do it, but I think if you get guys who get those playoff kind of games at this level, whether we're talking academy, whether we're talking next pro, when you get into those moments with the first team, it's not the same, but it's a little bit of a helping step up the ladder to do that.
Jarrett, your question for Jason as we roll things here.
We talked, Jason, last year about guys who needed to step up for Atlanta United too. A lot of it was centered around guys like Luke Brennan, Efrain Morales. It was a look, you're gonna probably be on the outside looking in. I need you to go out there and put up like MLS Next Pro Best 11 performances and show that you are part of this conversation going forward. Who are those guys this year, if not the same guys? Who are those guys you're looking at and saying, from you, I need stellar performances to show me you're ready to take that step?
Cooper's one. I think Cooper Sanchez, who was with the USU 17s, helped them qualify for the World Cup, played a good bit with that group. I think he is a guy who has all the tools to be a Major League Soccer player. And to get there, you've got to perform at this level and not just be part of the group and do pretty well. You've got to stand out at this level. He's one that I think can take that jump. Dominic Chonqui is another one that, maybe we take for granted that because he's been with the first team, he'll be with the first team again this weekend, that he is on that pathway. But he needs to be a standout. At this level, that's what those guys have to be. Efrain Morales, I would assume, will play a good bit for the twos, especially early as you've got everybody healthy at the center back position. Again, no mistakes. Got to be solid. Got to win all his duels, and got to show that he can do what Ronnie Dyla and Steve Cook want. And are they the same coach? No. Are they going to be in alignment with how they want the teams to play? Yes. So for Efrain, that means finding those opportunities to get vertical, to play the ball long, to play the ball into the right channels, get guys forward, get out of your own half. So these are the things that you're looking for when Brennan gets time with the twos. Yes, he's got to produce goals and assists. It's about production, and it's about standing out at this level. You want the team to stand out as a group, but you're looking for individuals to rise above that and be in a position basically where you can't deny them minutes at the first team level because they're doing so well at the second team level.
Bart Kaler, Soccer for US POD, joining the fray here on the Weekend Whip Around, talking Atlanta United 2 and MLS Next Pro.
And Atlanta United, if you want to.
Well, yeah.
Atlanta United
I have that game on Saturday, John. It's kind of a big deal.
Well,
yeah,
no,
that was where my question wanted
There's
to go,
also
John.
Richie Williams conversations. Let's not forget.
Richie Williams might be getting more people and getting them got. Watch out.
Fine. All right, fine. Bart, talk Atlanta United. We'll go there.
Sorry, my question was
He's not asking you now. He's telling you you have to talk Atlanta United.
We have seen not a complete revolution of the way that Red Bulls play soccer, but they have tried to play soccer, which is the new newly formed and newly minted team. Atlanta United typically struggles against those teams who, look, we saw it against Charlotte last week, who are more than happy to say, okay, you have the ball, we'll defend. With Red Bulls being a little more open, but Atlanta also trying to maybe implement a little bit higher and more intense of a press. How does that flip of a slight script affect the way that we'll see especially our, who knows what our backline will be, backline?
Yeah, honestly, I've had this conversation a lot this week. I'm not as hung up on the back line because you've had a lot of injuries. So we've got to see the group as it's intended to be before we snap to any judgments. You got to see Brooks Lennon in there. You got to see Pedro Amador in there. I thought both looked really good in training on Tuesday, where we got to watch the whole session, especially Brooks. He's not available this week, and I think that is more related to the recovery from the shoulder surgery than anything else, because he looked in midseason form on Tuesday. Hopefully he will be ready to go for next week. Pedro Amador looks like he's ready to go. And the reason why I say that about not judging the back line yet is it's not purely about them defending for me. It's about what you do in the attack, because I think this team looks really different if with all of the development that you've had in the first half in terms of creating chances and opportunities, if you score more than one goal. I think the team looks really different if you've got more than one goal on the board in the first 45 in both of those games. I don't think we're talking about the defense after that. Charlotte's a prime example. Look, they didn't do anything in the first half. Nothing.
No.
Nada. Zilch. And what did they do? They sent 2 long balls that you didn't deal with well, and they scored 2 goals. And then they look like rock stars defensively. Did anything really change? No. They just had the lead, and they were able to be comfortable. I think Atlanta's got to go out and get goals when they have those quality moments in games. They've got to go get goals. What will help them get goals is more width. And that's something that you haven't been able to get with, I think Ronald Hernandez is probably the closest out of what we've seen to giving you that, but he's going to naturally come in on the right foot when he's on the left side. Matt Edwards, when he's gotten forward, the team's looked better, but he's a young player. You know, you're trying to get him comfortable in getting forward more often. Luis Abram's a center back. He can give you the defensive side of it at left back, but he's not comfortable going high up the field. It's not his position. So when you get wider, then I think the attack looks more like it's intended to look, because Miggy and Saba coming into those interior channels, it makes you look like you have 5 across the front.
Yeah.
And that's what this team's supposed to look like. They haven't been able to do that.
Frustrating. I'm not blaming Matt Edwards, because obviously I think we've established that's not his comfort level, but there were many times.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think he's capable. I think it's just knowing when to go. That's it.
It was a little frustrating watching him against Charlotte, where there were progressive passes he probably should have made, but as a kid who isn't experienced, comfortable, whatever word you want to use, he's not there yet.
Well, here's the other thing, though, Barton. And this is I do want to say this about Matt Edwards, because I feel like for whatever reason, because of one misplayed bouncing ball, there's been a lot of conversation this week about how Matt Edwards can't play at this level. Matt Edwards shut down Wilfred Zaha for 45 minutes. So, you know,
to the point that they quit trying to play down the right side. Because
they were,
not,
exactly.
They
gave
quit
up
trying to play to Wilfred Zaha, so they had to go over the top, because Matt Edwards got so inside of Wilfred Zaha's brain that Zaha was trying to start a fight with a 22-year-old because his feelings were hurt.
So that happened, and you got this situation where I think Edwards was maybe a little more reluctant because of his matchup to get forward, and it did affect the attack. And I thought you got a little too narrow at times, and it got clogged up, and that's a challenge. I think the other challenge is look, Edwards has had a lot of sprints. If you look at the numbers, he's one of the leading Atlanta United players in terms of sprints. That's different than covering the ground on the offensive side. You want him higher up the field. You want him positionally higher, but he's putting in the work at a level and at an intensity level that he's never done before. So I think he's hitting walls a little bit in the second half as well. And that's just something that, you know, you have to learn how to deal with. You'd be in a much better position if you're able to bring him in for 10 or 15 minutes at a time, and then he's good and he's comfortable and he gets it. Well, now, look, you've jump-started the process, and it's going to help you later in the season, because we know what Brooks Lennon gives you. He's going to give you absolutely that width that the team needs. He's going to put in crosses. He's going to pick out latte lot. I think Brooks Lennon is, even with missing some games early on, I think he's poised for a double-digit assist season. I really do in this system. But now you've got that opportunity that maybe you haven't had in the past. Brooks Lennon can absolutely run himself into the ground for 70 minutes.
And he will.
And he will. And now if you need him to come out, you've got a guy who shut down a Premier League winger and is going to be more comfortable when he's in those moments late in games. So you've got more depth. It's not how you wanted to get there, but these injuries early on have helped you create a little more depth. So I hope it helps in the long run. And I can't wait to see Lennon back in this group, because then I think the attack is better. Then I think your spacing is better. Then I think you get even better chances, and you start to find more goals in the first half of these games where you're playing really well.
About another 10 minutes with Jason before he turns into a pumpkin here on a Friday.
I'm not turning into a pumpkin.
Fine. You're a very, very, very busy man.
Jason actually announces when he's going to leave, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't just disappear like some people.
Yeah.
I say goodbye.
Yes. Sidebar, Michael Parkhurst was not impressed with Wilfred Zaha and his efforts against United.
I wasn't either. And it's so crazy the way that we talk about this league at times. Like, I don't know. We don't actually watch games. You know, if you see the stat sheet and you try to give him an assist on the first goal, which is
generous.
You know, and I mean, even he's like, hey, bro, no, it wasn't an assist. And you look at that and you're like, oh, he was great. He stood out, and look at that. He didn't do anything.
No.
He got shut down by Matt Edwards, shut down to the point that he's shoving him and losing his head. He scores a decent first-time volley that he didn't catch completely on a rebound.
And Brad's leaning the other way and has to come back to his left to try to
It's
get
a
it in.
rebound.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be good. He wasn't in the first match, and I think Charlotte is going to be a good team. I think on paper they make a statement with this win because they beat a team that, in my opinion, is more talented. I think Charlotte has the potential to be in that A-B tier in terms of the Eastern Conference. I don't think they're there yet because they haven't shown enough to go out and win games. They can frustrate you defensively. They can get jobs done. Can they go out and win a game?
They've
hitting
scored
a couple
4
long
goals
balls.
in 2 games to start the season, so that would be
True. But
They scored
but
3
let's look
goals.
at it.
Seattle scored 1 of them for them.
Yeah.
well,
Yes.
that's fair.
Yes,
Yes.
one of them is an own goal that, look, they created. Good on them. The other 2 are long balls. And if that's what you're going to rely on, then go buy lottery tickets because hopefully you win them because that's what a long ball is. You know, this is a team that's very good defensively, but I think you need more in the attack. Zaha should give them that. Ajuman should give them that. Will they? And will Dean Smith let them go more? That's my question. The East is very crowded, and I'm not really all that convinced by Charlotte yet. I think they have the potential, but I think Atlanta is a better team that needs to get all the way on the field with their starting lineup. Miami is a better team until anybody proves them otherwise. Cincinnati is very good. I still have some questions, but they're very good. Columbus is showing that they don't need starting strikers. They can just go and do their thing anyway because Wilfred Zaha is a magician / warlock. Orlando is pretty good, but I think they're kind of in the same spot as Charlotte. I think the Red Bulls are better than Charlotte. I think this game this weekend is 2 of the 3 best teams on paper in the Eastern Conference.
So when you look at Red Bulls, obviously Emil Forsberg in the middle of it all, he's the one that you've got to keep an eye on, and it's going to be a big assignment for the two sixes for Atlanta United, whomever they are this weekend.
Yeah, Forsberg is a perfect fit for this system, and he's been in the Red Bull family for a long time, so he gets what it is, and I think he's that guy that they've been chasing since they signed Kaku from Paraguay, who didn't give them the pressing side that they needed. Forsberg gives them both sides of the ball, which is huge. You also signed Choupo-Moting, who you're talking about a super experienced striker who gets it. As Bart said, this is a team that can play more. They're never going to be a team that wants to dominate possession. That's just not their MO. But this group's more comfortable with it, and they can do a lot more with it. This is a good New York Red Bulls team that I thought last year when they had Emil Forsberg was, the second best team in the East.
Mm-hmm.
They showed they get to the Cup final. This is a good group. I think they got better in the offseason. I think Sandro Schwartz is a really good manager. So tactically, they're going to be set up in a really similar way to Montreal, just in terms of the shape, but they play it so differently because of that, lack of maybe wanting the ball and keeping it for periods of time. It's when they win it in this shape, this 3-4-2-1, it is go time, and it's get forward and it's get vertical, and it's don't hesitate. Don't worry about keeping the ball for a couple of extra seconds. Just go. That's something Atlanta's going to have to deal with. And Forsberg, I think, is so good in those moments because he's done it for so long. They win the ball. Wherever they win the ball, Forsberg is immediately looking ahead of him to find a pocket of space to get into and to receive the ball. And then he can score wonder goals like he did last week. He can create opportunities for others. He can do whatever he needs to do. You've got to, because I don't think you're going to be in a position this week where you're worried about, not worried, you're always worried about it, but being able to really deny service to him because the way they transition, it's going to be immediate. You want to make sure you're accounting for him at all times. So whoever the central midfielders are, and Click came back into training yesterday, but he has been ill for a week. I'm not sure exactly what the issue was, but I would assume he's not at full strength. So I don't know if he's going to be able to start. If it's Jay Fortune, if it's Muyamba, if it's Click for a period of time in this one, whoever that is alongside Sleesh, you have to make sure you know where Forsberg is in those transition moments. You want to make it difficult for him. You want to make it crowded. You want to, because they go so fast, you want, whether it's Edelman, whether it's Stroud in the midfield, when they win the ball and they look for Forsberg, you want them to have to hesitate. Can I get that to him? You want to make the Red Bulls hesitate, because that's not how they're comfortable. They don't like to keep the ball for an extra beat. They don't like to hesitate. They want to go. So if you make them hesitate, if they look up, they're like, I can't get it to him. All right, now what?
Yeah.
That's not where they thrive. That's how you have to be in this game. And I think Sleesh and whoever the other 6 is next to him, they're going to have to make sure that Forsberg is just accounted for within, you'd like to be within arm's reach. That's probably not going to happen, but you want to be within enough of a passing lane to where those players decide, you know what, I can't risk playing this ball down.
So, Jarrett, before your Irish goodbye, what's up with you? What else is on your mind this morning?
I guess we've talked in the preseason, Jason, about toughness in this team and about having grit. We talked about it last night, that this is a rivalry that Ronnie Dylan knows well. Like it's a different team. Obviously, Red Bulls is a different team with Bill Forsberg than they were with Kaku when he was like bullseyeing fans in the stands. But I want to talk about the benefit of these early games like this, like getting into a street fight with Charlotte, even though you didn't win it, getting into a potential street fight with Red Bulls, who will, and I told Maddie last night, this is my favorite rivalry because it's organic, and it feels like the players have internalized it to the point where last year they were getting in each other's faces and people were getting sent off. I want to kind of get into the benefits of an early game like this in terms of kind of, hardening the steel and the mentality of this team and being tough for the middle of the season when you're going to hit rough, how you can take a rivalry game against a team that can be a bully at times.
I like it because I didn't see enough of that in Charlotte after you fell down 2-0.
Yep.
And this is a really talented group for Atlanta United. And I think at times they're going to be able to just overpower teams with quality. That'll happen. I think it'll happen multiple times this season. Not always going to happen, though. So in those moments where Charlotte gets 2 goals against the run of play, they weren't. I say against the run of play, people will argue that Charlotte wasn't creating more than Atlanta. They weren't outplaying.
They were hoofing it.
Yeah,
they were clearing it because Atlanta was counter-pressing. They were being smart. They were doing what they should have done.
No. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's 2 moments where they get it right, but it's 2 long balls. Again, these are coin flips. So they won the coin flips. That's good. But then when they did that, it felt like there was a 10 minutes or so of what just happened. And there wasn't the response that you wanted. The 4 subs came on, and I really liked making 4 at one time. It's not something you normally see. But it was a jolt to the system of, this isn't acceptable. Mm-hmm. Go make something happen. I thought Sean De Silva came in and did well. I thought Tristan Muyamba came in and did well. Mosquera got bottled up a little bit. I would have liked to have seen them force the ball to him a little bit more to give him some 1v1s. But you have to respond when things are not that free-flowing, beautiful soccer that I think you're going to see a good bit this season. Red Bull's game is not going to be free-flowing and beautiful soccer. It isn't possible for 90 minutes to do that. It is possible in chunks, and you got to maximize those chunks. But when it's a fight, you got to throw punches. And that's what I want to see from this group. If the game starts to get away a little bit and, a team gets a couple goals against the run of play like Charlotte did, okay, next time the ball ends up with Wilfred Zaha, put him on the ground. The next time you have somebody in the midfield on a 50-50 ball, go in strong. Take a yellow card. It's fine. That's the element that this team has not had over previous years, and I'm really trying to move past the conversation of, well, this is what happened last year. Well, this is what happened in 23. Well, this is what happened. It's not those teams anymore. This is a very different situation. But they have to be tough mentally as well as physically. And sometimes you got to show that and take that yellow card that is absolutely a purposeful yellow card. Go back to Miami and Houston last week. Jordi Alba gets stomped on by Kowalczyk. Should have been potentially a red card. Mm-hmm. Joe Dickerson looks at it and I guess smirks and doesn't do anything. What happens the next sequence? Jordi Alba decks the guy and he gets a yellow card. And you saw Jordi Alba's reaction to it. He's like, yeah, exactly. I handled it. You got to take some of those. You have to take some yellow cards like that, even if it's not where you got stomped on, but to change the energy of the game. This Red Bulls team, as they showed at Mercedes-Benz last year, they might not be able to handle that change of energy. They might lose their head. They might take a red card in that moment where you take a yellow. Good. But you've got to be able to change the energy at times. And that's going to mean Bartek Sliš getting a little nasty at times. That's going to mean Mateusz Klich, Tristan Muyumba, Jay Fortune getting a little nasty at times. It's going to mean the strikers, the attackers. Miguel Almiron's got a mean streak. Okay, cool. Deck somebody. Let's see that when the game is getting away from you to change that energy, especially at home. Because, I mean, Bart, you can speak to this. When you get that hard foul from Atlanta where the game's kind of getting away from you, you get a reaction out of the crowd.
As Bart chuckles.
No, I mean, I think you're right to an extent, Jason, is that it's standing up for yourself more than anything.
Yeah.
And making sure that, especially at home, you're using the fervor that the crowd can give you. No, it won't be the 68,000 we had last week, but it looks like it'll be 42.5. So those people who are, behind each goal on the sideline, some of them on the sidelines, they often go into the club level, but hey.
Sometimes it happens. They're fancy.
I don't blame them. They have good food there.
Yeah,
those people
There's
are
an
ready
Antico down there, guys.
you gotta hit the buffet occasionally.
I don't blame them. I've been down there, and it was hard to stay away. That is a massive advantage that Atlanta United has. That, look, sorry for throwing a little bit of shade, but Charlotte, that was cute that you brought 53,000 or whatever you couldn't sell out your home.
How many of them traveled up the freeway, though?
Y'all weren't that loud. You had your cute little moment where you jump up and down before the goals were scored, and you sounded like nothing, and you were relatively loud, quiet the rest of the game. I'm sorry, Atlanta United definitely has that home advantage that not a whole lot of other teams can even create, because you just don't have. I mean, most of the time we have more than double what a team could have in their stadium. So it is important to not let a team like Red Bulls come in and try to be a bully, because you have way more people behind you than they will.
It's important to push buttons too. I think even beyond the bullying side of it, like if you feel the game slipping a little, which it does, like these games more and more, and this is worldwide, this isn't an MLS thing, momentum swings are everything. So when you feel that kind of sliding the other way on the field, if you're in an Atlanta United kit, again, go in for a hard foul. Go in and push that button that, we're not getting bullied here, but man, I gotta stem this momentum swing that's going the Red Bulls way. Let me just go and clatter into somebody trying to win the ball back.
Broadcast plans for Atlanta United and Red Bulls.
Yep. 6:30 pregame show. Going to be Madison Cruz. Going to be Abe Gordon on that. We will have Garth Lagerwey in the booth with myself and Mike Conti a little bit before 7 o'clock. We'll also have Dallas Austin paying us a visit in the booth on the pregame show. Always cool. Talking about the Sonic ID, which I've listened to a lot of them. Atlanta and Houston have the best two I've heard so far. Miami's is horrendous. Well, I don't know what happened with Miami. That thing, it's like it should be on Chill Mix, 25 or something.
I'm serious.
What is happening, Miami? I'm disappointed in you. San Francisco is kind of weird, but Houston's was good. Atlanta's was really good. You can hear from Dallas Austin on the pregame show tomorrow a little bit more about that. Kickoff at 7:40. Postgame after that. Lots of stuff. And then tonight, Atlanta United 2. We're letting Jarrett in the booth. Begrudgingly, he'll be on the pregame.
It's just pregame. It's in halftime.
It's still scary, Jared. Anytime you're on a microphone, there are fears that I have that I cannot explain to you. So it's going to be you and Madison Cruz in pregame and halftime. We'll catch everybody postgame. We'll have a postgame show that'll be recorded wherever you get your SDH podcasts. But you can listen to the game by going to soccerdownhere.net, clicking listen. It's pretty self-explanatory. Or you can go on the Mixler app and listen live with our radio call of Atlanta United 2 and New York Red Bulls 2.
Very cool. Have a great call tonight. Have a great call tomorrow, and I will catch up with you all, with you, Jason, on the flip side of things, and continue with your busy day, sir, away from us here.
Yes, I'm not going to turn into a pumpkin, but I will say adios, everybody.
Adios.
Good luck,
everybody.
Jason.
Yes. So Jason and his massively busy day. We do have some reffing down here before we get out of here, Bart. Before
Yeah.
Are we going to yell about Joe Dickerson or something else? Because I
no,
do have to
something
go,
else.
but
no,
okay, because
something else.
I do have to turn into a pumpkin.
Okay, so
I just want to say that I get angry at Joe Dickerson's existence, mostly because Joe Dickerson. Like every time we get like a super controversial thing, I'm like, it's Joe Dickerson in the center. Okay, cool, yeah, fair.
Yeah,
You're doing that lineman thing where like I know your name and it's not for the reason you want me to know.
He's the new hire Marufo, in my opinion.
I'm not.
That may not be fair to Marufo, but they both love to be a little bit more noticeable than the common referee.
So I still get mad about the Thiago Almada thing where Almada bumped him and was suspended, as he should have been according to the rule book.
Yeah.
When Almada went like to yell at him, and instead of just walking off the field, he turned around and like basically like where he like went with Thiago and turned to talk to him instead of just walk off, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk away.
Yes.
And yeah, then Thiago made a very stupid decision. This isn't to excuse Thiago Almada. He made an incredibly stupid decision. But I still get mad about that where I'm like, dude, just walk away. Just diffuse.
Yes, diffuse. So the one piece of news before we get out of here in reffing down here has to do with the Millwall keeper Liam Roberts. He has been given an increased 6-match ban by the Regulatory Commission upholding the FA's claim, sent off for his foul on Philippe Mateta in the FA Cup. So it's an increased 6-match ban. So that's where we are with.
You can't argue that. I'm sorry, Millwall. It was ugly, it was dangerous, and it was very much outside of the scope of what soccer should be played like, especially from a goalkeeper. So, yeah. Also, Joe Dickerson did have his red card rescinded. I'm still shocked that I'm shocked that they rescinded the red card. I think they should have given it to the dude from Houston as well. I think it's fair to.
Kowalczyk should have absolutely gotten a red for his stomp. That was out of control.
Yeah, well, that is absolutely true. I'm surprised that wasn't overturned in the moment.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so Bart, you'll be back with us for reffing down here and everything on Monday in the 10 o'clock?
I will be, and hopefully have an episode of soccer for us to you by Sunday. So
cool. All right, so that'll be up on Sunday. Ricky, we held the anonymous GM survey because traditionally Friday we're flying around at about 90 miles an hour and doing all the things. So for Jason, for Jarrett, for Michael Parkhurst, who was not impressed with Wilfred Zaha at all, and for Bart, I'm just John. That's another week of SDH. I'm heading over to the Macon Coliseum, and we'll be there today and tomorrow. It is all GPB all the time with the high school basketball championships. And the biggest thing is just to make sure that on Sunday, I don't talk to anybody because I will have talked for 4 days straight at about 10 hours at a clip. So yes, we are.
I hope you have better luck making your tea next time.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I still ended up drinking it, but it's like,
okay, good.
Well, but it's like the burn is in the middle of my tongue, like literally in the middle of my tongue. Yeah. So it's hard to navigate it with anything, especially with, any kind of a food that might scratch. So yeah, it's an adventure. We'll get through it, and so, we will persevere. Oh my God! So yeah, we'll persevere with a burned tongue and we'll make our way through it. So for Bart and everybody, it's another great week of SDH. Thanks to all the guests, thanks to all of you, and thanks for everything. Enjoy the twos, enjoy the first team, and once again, remember it's I think it's on Star 94 for the first team. So keep an eye on that Odyssey app. SoccerDownHere.net, SDH Network, all the stuff, all the things. And since it is the end of the show on a weekend, that means that we get to do this on our way out the door. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy, be safe, and we'll catch up with you with all of this on Monday.
Was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress, the streets